And we are, hello folks, this is Stephanie Hunter from Hamilton, New Zealand, and our beautiful Karen Crichton from Pi here in New Zealand. And today we're going down, sorry Karen, today we're going down the Nutritional Nuggets playlist once again, and it's a very exciting mineral, and this is one called potassium. So Karen, take us away. What is potassium?
Okay, so potassium is one of the most abundant minerals in the human body, and just like magnesium and sodium, really, really important. So health benefits of potassium include relief from stroke, can help with high blood pressure, heart and kidney disorders, and anxiety and stress. It helps to enhance muscle strength, metabolism, water balance, and of course it's got electrolyte functions, and it helps with the central nervous system. Most people know of potassium as being something that we use as an electrolyte. And so that's a mineral required for keeping the heart, brain, kidney, muscle tissue, and other important systems of the body in good condition. And again, much like many of the other minerals, when we sweat, we lose these minerals, which is why potassium is really well known as an electrolyte that we need to take when we're exercising. And so it's very easy to lose and be potassium deficient. So the potassium deficiency symptoms are muscle fatigue and muscle weakness, and also general fatigue. So brain fog and all that sort of thing. So abnormal heartbeat and even heart palpitations, anemia even, and severe headaches. Of course, anemia is linked with iron, which we'll go into in another day. But it's potassium deficient people is very prevalent to have high blood pressure. Isn't it interesting? When we go to a doctor's and you have high blood pressure, they give you medication. They don't ever say to you, why don't you go and try some potassium first? Which is what I would personally do. Is right, okay, I probably need more potassium. And so if you have any gut pain as well, and even swelling in the glands, so in the throat, in the groin, and those sorts of things, have a look at potassium. Maybe take a potassium, you can get potassium tissue salts, which are really, really effective. And what they can do is help your body uptake potassium from your food. Because we get food in we get potassium in a lot of food, things like vegetables and citrus fruits and salmon, chicken, whole milk, almonds. So they're really good. Lima beans, potatoes, nuts. If you are vegetarian, vegan, then also legumes. So we can get a lot of potassium from those. And of course, it's always going to be more useful to have in foods than having a supplement. But so avocados are particularly good, and as are bananas and coconut water. But just remembering that not all of us can tolerate bananas. And bananas, if you have blue eyes like me and Stephanie, we are prone to making mucus, and bananas are mucus forming foods. So
Wow,
maybe it might be a good idea to have more veggies and stuff. So
with the bananas as well, Karen, this is something that from my studies in nutrition years ago, so it may have changed, so please tell me if I'm right or wrong. But because bananas aren't traditionally grown in New Zealand, we have to import them. So they are picked before they become fully ripened, in order for them to be chilled for transportation purposes, which common sense tells you they're taken off their mother's source before all the full nutritional value is gained, because they haven't ripened. So when we say that there's nutrition in our bananas, those nutritional studies happened offshore, didn't they, in countries where bananas are actually growing. So what I'm getting at there is the nutritional investigations happen when the banana was actually fully mature on the life source, as opposed to what we get here in New Zealand.
Well, I would say that would be for nearly every fruit, nut, vegetable, that they should be allowed to ripen on the vine, on the tree, on whatever. There's a proviso, of course, with that, whereas if you look at avocados, for example, they will not ripen until they fall off the tree or be taken.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but as a general rule, absolutely, the fresher we can eat our food, the better. And I'm a great believer is if we look at our genetics and what our bodies have been used to using. So for example, as I said about blue eyes, if you look at blue-eyed types, we often have paler skin too, not always of course, but we often do. We come from colder climates. The reason we have blue eyes is so that we can absorb more light. So we do not come from equatorial zones. We do not have the ability generally to break down these foods that come from those areas, as well as people who genetically have a predisposition to be exposed to them. And I'm talking about coconuts as well here. So bananas, especially because they've become so, you never see a supermarket without a banana at any time of the year. And you're quite right, Stephanie, we don't know how old they actually are either. So they get kept cold, they be kept green for quite some time. They can be kept like that for a long time until they get exposed. And very often they put toxic gas to make them ripen at the right time. So this is happening a lot to the food chain. And we could do a whole blooming story about this, because they're using chemicals to ripen fruits, vegetables at the right time. So they get picked at a certain time, and then they will, if they put it on the market when everything else is ripe, they'll get a low price. Whereas if they can be kept and then they can be ripened at the right time when they're going to get a better price, that's what they do.
So one of my passions lately, folks, is to really study our supply chain. It's something that the lockdown with COVID-19 has brought to my attention again. It's something I was actually interested in 20 years ago when I first started my business, but I got busy in business. And now it's brought me back to full circle again, is our supply chain. And this is where I get really pedantic about things. If you can't grow it in your own supply chain, your local supply chain, consider carefully the true value of the food or fruit or the nut that you're eating. And so bananas has been my pet subject, not pet subject, I'd say it's my pet example of this for a long, long time. We don't actually know what we're eating, because the studies that tell us that there's magnesium and potassium and so forth in bananas was actually done in the country where the bananas were grown, so they were fully mature when the study was taken on them.
Yeah.
So what we're having here in New Zealand, unless we're buying New Zealand grown bananas, and I have actually heard of a couple of plantations. It takes a while for a plantation to establish, I understand, but I have heard that there is a couple of plantations of banana plantations happening here in New Zealand now.
There's specific types, they're the lady fingers, so they're the smaller ones.
Okay.
And they're slightly different as in their digestibility, so that they come from a different genus than what we normally get. And so I found personally, I can eat those better than I can eat the others. So
Fascinating.
Not everything is created equal, but going back to potassium, of course, it's really an important component of having in our diet so that we can be healthy, because it's really important. So it's a really important mineral. It can help stabilize blood sugars, for example, reduces muscle disorders, prevent cramp if you have it with magnesium, and it also enhances bone health. So these minerals are critical for our health and well-being. Like I've said before, and I'll keep on saying it, get the foundations right, you'll have better health.
Fascinating. Fascinating. The last question for you today, Karen, is water contains potassium as well, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't know. It depends on where the water comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, that's come out of the water table, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So
okay, I shall study that deeper. There are different minerals in water, but I thought potassium was one of them. Yeah,
probably, but I've never sort of taken those sorts of things for granted, because we just don't know what, you can have your water analysed, but it goes through, it's really quite interesting, Water's a fascinating subject, and we've talked at length, Stephanie, about water. But if we look at town water supplies, are very, very different to water that is running through nature.
Absolutely. And it makes sense when you look at the whole infrastructure of the creation of the byproducts. We were talking about bananas, or we were talking about water, what went into it.
Yes.
Will differ from place to place for obvious reasons. Okay, excellent. We could go on and on and on, but I'm going to call a halt to this because I want to keep us focused on potassium.
Yeah, awesome.
Even though I'm the one that went down the rabbit hole about bananas.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Anything else you'd like to add about potassium before we say harira?
No, just remembering, if you want to have electrolytes, please look at what else is in a drink that might call itself electrolyte drink. Just look at the label.
Become very, very aware and are really good at reading labels.
Yeah, very.
Excellent. Okay, folks, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things for us, please. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. It's a little square, little rectangular shaped box with the word subscribe below the video. Hit that, make sure that you're part of our team. Right beside the subscribe button is a small box that looks like a bell. Click on that as well and click, when you click on it, a drop menu will come down, click all, so you get all notifications of any other gems that we're going to be dropping into this YouTube channel. And the third thing I'm going to ask you to do is to please share this video out with at least 5 people, because potassium is fundamentally important for it's really, really important for the foundations and structure of our well-being. So in the meantime, love and light to all and every single one of you. Hope these videos have got great interest to you and give you a lot of aha moments. Thank you once again, Karen, for your massive input. Your knowledge is just limitless. So it's great to sit here and listen and learn from you even more.
Thank you very much.
See you.
My pleasure.
You're very welcome.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye-bye.